Welcome back, YouTube. This is James again with another video of some upgrades I've been doing to my Gen 7. This is a Gen 7 Pro, and this is a Gen 7 Pro that is straight from the box. Still haven't done any upgrades to it. Keeping it that way as long as possible to show my upgrades and mods that I'm doing. Mostly free stuff as much as possible. What I have done is I have shortened the rod ends on both the links, left and right, on the outside by 1 millimeter front and back on that link. And what I have is, going from the front of the fender, I am almost dead even. Whereas stock, you can see I'm a good 1/4 to a 1/2 inch in front of the bumper. Now I do suspect I may have some trouble getting some up and over some things because of the bumper, so eventually that bumper may end up having to go. But I've also raised the body on this one peg hole on the shocks anyway already, so I'm getting a little bit more clearance out of the bumper. So it's still going to be better than stock, and hopefully, I mean, it still kind of is going to get close to hitting the inner fender a little bit, but I'm getting closer to not having to shave any of that off. So hopefully that, even with steering into it, it is way better than it was. I mean, just a millimeter off of each end of those rod ends has moved this back quite a bit. I think I'm getting a lot closer to the 12.3. Guess I should do it the other way since you can't see the rear wheel. Yeah, I'm about, just barely over 12 1/4, so I'm probably right at 12.3 without even having to adjust the rear end. See that again so you can see both ends of the tape measure. Just a little over 12 1/4, way under the 12 1/2 that the stock is at. Let's see if we can get a picture of that in over here. Just double measure. Yeah. Right at 12 1/2 on the stock. So I've gotten this guy so that when I do end up switching the body out of 12.3, should fit a lot better. Even though I'll probably end up going with a cab and either the Vetera Honcho style bed or the axial. Kind of looking more at the Vetera right now just because it's a little bit more different. Not as many people are running it. But that's my rig, and as you've probably seen on some videos, I've done quite a bit to it. So let me, just for anybody that's a little bit newer to this, what I did is the rod ends on these outside links here and here, I dremeled most of them, and when it got really close I just start grinding it on a piece of sandpaper on the table. Ground both of those down, reconnected everything, and seems to be pretty good. It did not rotate the servo down too much. Probably got a little bit of a rotate to it now. It's really hard to tell with the stationary camera. So it does kind of rotate this down. Somebody had suggested moving the inside link arms up to one of these inside holes. It brought my servo so far down I was afraid that I was going to run my steering horn into rocks and stuff. So this got a little bit, some of what I've heard, a little bit angle is okay, but you know, too much is too much. But a little bit down does kind of get the turn to bite into some of the rocks and hills a little better. So we'll see. That's just one of the little things I've done. Added me some little lights on the front bumper last night as well. Haven't really got to play out in the dark with it yet, so we'll see how that works. But there we go, guys. Like I said, just shaving 1 millimeter. Basically, each of my rod ends are now 18.5 millimeters long. They were a little over 19.5, like 19.56, 57, I think, somewhere around in there. So if you want to shorten your wheelbase a little bit, that's one way to do it without having to buy anything. When parts come available, of course, you can always buy your rod ends again. I'm sure they're fairly cheap for a pack, and you could space it back out pretty easily, or easily move your rod end here up to that front connector on the skid plate too would get that back real easily. So I wasn't real worried about it because I knew I could always move that one on the skid plate back up if I wanted the wheelbase. But like I said, I'm looking to eventually swap the bodies anyway, so I wanted the 12.3 wheelbase. Also, so kind of a side note of that is, I notice I kind of tend to bottom out a lot more where some of my SCX friends are not bottoming out, so hopefully pulling those wheels in a little bit will help a little bit on that as well. Hope you guys find this helpful if you are looking into shortening the wheelbase a little bit and getting this front tire a little bit more looking where it's more center with the fender well.